Hello everybody and Happy New Year! It is Michael from Hollowed Thrills back again with another video, and of course, a new year means that we are one step closer to haunt season, to HHN season, which can only mean one thing. We are going to start off this new year on the channel with our 2023 HHN 32 predictions. These are my bold predictions on what I could possibly think we would see at this year's event. Now, they're absolutely, just to preface this, there's absolutely nothing backing any of these except for maybe one, which technically has been announced already. But as of right now, there's no real solid rumors backing anything I'm about to say. These are just everything that I would, in my mind, think we could possibly see this year at the event. But before we get into any of that, please make sure that you are subscribed, have the bell notifications turned on to get notified whenever I post a video, and also make sure you're following me on both Instagram and Twitter. The links for both of those are down in the description below. If you were following me over there, you would have saw the intro, my new intro for this year, before it aired on the channel for this video. But now, let's get into our HHN 32 predictions. For our HHN 32 predictions, we're just gonna straight up be doing houses because scare zones are just far too hard to guess. Even like without anything, it's far too hard for me to guess because most of the time they're gonna be originals, and originals are hard enough to guess for houses. So we're just gonna do IPs and original houses. Once again, I think we're gonna have 10 houses. I don't think there's gonna be any change with that. I think it's going to be a 5-5 split. I think we're going to start going back more toward that split rather than a 6-4 original to IP. I think we're going to start going back to more IPs. But let's start off with our first guess, technically, but it has already officially been announced for this year. Take it away.
Chucky, wanna play?
Boom! Yeah, that's right. I'm back. And I'll see you suckers at Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights next year.
An all-new haunted house, inspired by the hit USA sci-fi series Chucky, is coming in 2023 to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Orlando Resort and Universal Studios Hollywood.
I can't wait to play.
Yes, that is right. Chucky, yes, the sci-fi series Chucky has officially been announced. It was announced way back at the end of HHN 31. I think it was on Halloween is when it was actually announced. I never actually covered it officially on the channel, so I thought I would include it in this video right here. But I am kind of interested to see Chucky actually come to the event this year and actually be a part of the event. Maybe the merchandise will actually make sense when he's on it this year. Or maybe they'll throw us for a big curveball and just not put him on any merchandise. You know, that would be hilarious. But anyways, like I said, Chucky, the sci-fi series, is coming this year. It has already been confirmed. I believe it is seasons 1 and 2 are going to be there. So it should be really cool. And I'm really excited to see the Mark Hamill Chucky in person. I know we had Chucky back at HHN 28 for his Scare Zone. And it was okay. I mean, he was kind of in the zone. He was there talking to people, roasting people, you know, hey, how you doing? Where you from? Stuff like that. It was kind of really dumb at the end of it because it just was so repetitive. But, you know, I'm just excited to see him in a house in general. Now let's move on to my next guess, which is a pretty, I'm sure you could probably guess that it's going to be there at this year. Of course, we're going to get another Universal Monsters. It's only right that we continue to get more Universal Monsters year after year, just because they've just been such a staple over the last couple of years of HHN that we continue to have them. So I think, once again, we're going to have another Universal Monsters house this year, and I think it is finally time for my personal favorite Universal Monster to make and take center stage. And I think that is going to be Phantom of the Opera. I know the Broadway musical is finally coming to an end after its very long run in New York, so I feel like it's only right that we give him that center stage for a final curtain call as a Universal Monsters house. I know there isn't really much correlation between the two, but I think it would also just be really cool to see Phantom in a solo house for Universal Monsters. It would be super cool, whether it be tailored towards the Broadway musical or towards the Lon Chaney Phantom of the Opera. It would just be really cool regardless, and I am loved seeing the Phantom section of the HHN 29 house. So I think that it's finally his turn. So let's move on to our next one. This is kind of my shot in the dark, super big IP that I could think that I could see us having this year. And the reason I think it's a possibility this year is because of what's been happening in the background recently with this IP. And that is Friday the 13th. Now recently, I believe it was towards the end of 2022, the lawsuit that had been ongoing for many, many years regarding the copyright and trademark for Friday the 13th finally got to settlement. And it was announced that Peacock was working on, and is currently working on, a Crystal Lake prequel series for Friday the 13th. So it would make sense that we see Jason return in some shape this year for the event, whether it be the original, the 2, 3, like any of the movies, honestly. Or maybe they just give an original story and just throw Jason in there. I would love to see some sort of Friday the 13th this year to kind of gauge interest for that Crystal Lake TV series that may be coming in the near future off of Peacock. I feel like that would be a really good marketing move for Universal to try to do that. Our next one, which you may be thinking on this one, we just had one, but it isn't unlikely for us to have back-to-back years with this type of house, and that is a Blumhouse house. Yes, Blumhouse last year was one of the most polarizing, well-received houses of the year. People were not really excited for it coming in just because of the track record of Blumhouse houses, but they knocked it out of the park last year. So I think we're going to have the return of Blumhouse yet again this year for Blumhouse number 4, and I think there are 2 movies on Blumhouse's slate over the past couple years and this year that we could see making it into this house. Now, the one from last year that I'm thinking of is They/Them, which I know is a very polarizing, very controversial movie, but it is kind of along that lines of a slasher thriller type movie that I could see working fairly well in a house sense. And then on top of it, we have our other movie, which is going to be the first horror movie to come out in 2023, and that is Megan. I think, Megan, it could be interesting. I know it's very similar to Chucky in a way, but I feel like they could do something with the marketing between the two of them, and it would work out fairly well. And I feel like Megan would work well in a house setting. It would be kind of creepy if you ask me. But like I said, I think Blumhouse is going to make another return this year, and we're going to get They/Them and Megan. Now, our last IP for this year's event that I'm guessing here, this one's more of my shot in the dark, like, okay, this movie's having an anniversary this year. Could we see it come to the event since it's never been there? And that would be the 1978 Dawn of the Dead. Yes, the George Romero classic. It's celebrating its 45th anniversary this year. So could we possibly see it finally come to the event? I know it's just kind of your basic run-of-the-mill zombie film, but it's been a couple years since we've just straight up seen a zombie-style house. So maybe we see Dawn of the Dead make a return with the zombie theming for HHN. We'll see. But that is it for my IP guesses. I know it's not really the greatest IPs, but Friday the 13th and Chucky being the headliners would be awesome. But now let's head into originals. These are kind of really just big shots in the dark, things that I've been like, okay, we haven't seen that type of concept in a while, or this hasn't had a sequel and was well received the first time around, so maybe they would do it again. So starting off around that route, what is a well-received house that has never had a sequel? And that to me screams Gothic. Gothic was a house at HHN 22 in 2012 that was one of the most well-received houses of its time and was one of the more scenically beautiful houses of its time. Now, we have seen the gargoyles from Gothic return in other houses in the past, and I personally would just love to see them return to that type of concept and just have a whole house of those, because frankly, those characters in these other houses absolutely terrify me because I'm not expecting them. It's kind of like a ghillie suit. These people just kind of just blend in to the surrounding area. So I think a Gothic sequel would be really nice this year, and it's been a while since we've seen them. My next guess is more of just, once again, another shot in the dark here, and that would be something that regards to Norse mythology. I think we're going to see something, like, I would love to see something, at least something related to Vikings. I know we haven't really seen anything regarding Vikings in the past. We saw Vikings Undead last, like, I think it was 29. We saw Vikings Undead as a scare zone. It was so-so, but that was more zombie Vikings. I just want straight, like, Vikings, Norse mythology, like sea monsters, like Loch Ness Monster type stuff. I would like to see something like that. I think it would be really cool to see something along those lines. My next guess would have to be, I think this is going to be a scare zone that was going to make into a house, and that would be Invasion. We've seen the aliens of Invasion over the last couple of years make reappearances, and the 27 scare zone, which was the original Invasion, has started to gain popularity amongst the community. So I think that we could possibly see them returning. At HHN 30, they were in the Lights Camera Action zone, and then last year the Queen alien was actually in Hellblock Horror. Maybe they could be hinting at Invasion getting its own house, and that would be kind of like our nice campy sci-fi house of the year, and I personally would love to see it. I wasn't the biggest fan of Invasion, but I can appreciate the campiness of the zone. Now my next guess for originals is gonna be kind of off the wall. I would love to see something in Japanese culture. Something like in a Japanese-based original, whether it be different folklore from like Japanese culture, or maybe just dragons or something along those lines. Just, I think that would be really cool. I know they had Spirits and Demons from the East over in Hollywood as a scare zone, and I thought that scare zone looked amazing. And personally, I think all of those characters would work really well in some sort of Japanese house setting. I think it would be really cool to see that. Now, my last original house guess for this year that I would personally like to see, I would like to see them continue the path of urban legends. Last year we had Chupacabra, and over in Hollywood they had La Llorona. I would love to see them continue the track of urban legends and continue the path of those and do another one this year, but something more along the dark line, something more like maybe Slender Man. I know that's kind of like meme culture, but not really a true urban legend. Or something like Mothman, which has gained a lot of popularity in West Virginia. I mean, just something really creepy, like woodsy, something like that would be awesome. And personally, I think Mothman would be really, really cool to see, and just absolutely scare the shit out of you. Can you imagine like a big freaking tall creature just coming out at you? Like, I don't know. I think that would be really cool to see some of those more niche folklore come to the event. I'm gonna be honest. But that is all of my guesses for this year. I mean, to me, this looks like a great lineup. It would be a lot different than we were used to seeing, but I think it could still all work well together. But I am interested to see what actually comes to this event and actually how well I do with my guesses. I mean, personally, I think some of these could be right, but we will have to see when HHN announces stuff. It is only January, so we do have a lot of time until we could possibly start seeing some more announcements, but who knows? We saw Chucky at the end of the event last year, so maybe they're gonna start pushing out more announcements sooner and sooner in the year. We'll have to see. But until next time, I'm Michael from Hollow Thrills, giving you the all clear, and all clear means you're out of here. See you guys next time.